There's a difference between shelter dogs and dogs that are purchased from a breeder or a pet store or whatever. They know they've been saved. You can look at their eyes and you can tell that they know they've been saved.
Daphne came into the shelter. The shelter was overflowing. So as a foster, I brought her home so that I can open up, so that would open up a space for another dog to come into the shelter. She makes me laugh, and she loves me. And she loves her family, loves to give kisses.
During the summertime, we got a phone call that there was kittens stuck in a storm drain. We were lucky enough that the storm crew would come out and help us lift the plates up off out of the ground so that I could get down in the storm drain to get her out. It took about 30 minutes or so. I ended up keeping her. I couldn't, I loved her. I fostered her for a couple days and ended up having to keep her.
He was a little 2-month-old puppy, had been put out on in Big Lots parking lot, actually, to fend for himself. And when I saw him interact with my husband, I knew that he was absolutely the one that needed to come home with us.
He stole my heart in 2012. All he wanted was love. He sat on our feet. We gave him some treats. He didn't want to leave our side, so we knew from then that he wouldn't leave our side.
My husband and I don't have children. They are my whole life. And I know that sounds strange to people, but I mean, look at him. He's just as content to be in with us. He's like a little human sitting there, and he's the one that you go to when you're down and you're feeling bad about yourself or life doesn't hand you the right thing. They're the ones that comfort you. Well, he's not just a dog. He's part of our family.
If you can adopt, I would suggest that you donate, volunteer your time, maybe even foster, get them out of the shelter for a little bit.
It equals life. It equals life for these dogs. Without donations, he could have been euthanized, just to make room for the next dog that came in. Any little donation equals life. When they're not having to make space for the next dog that's dropped off or picked up by animal control, and they can house those dogs and feed those dogs adequately, then they don't have to euthanize.
For us to continue to stay a no-kill facility, we depend on the donations to keep going.
Every little bit helps us to keep the shelter going. It's a wonderful place, and I hate it when people say, oh, I can't go out there. It's too noisy. I can't take them all home. Go out there. If you just walk one dog, it gets that one dog out.
Paper towels, dog food, bleach, trash bags, cleaners, anything that you can think of household-wise, we can use. Dish soap, laundry soap, cat litter, all of it. It's a big thing that we have to have constantly around here. Anything, ink pens, the file folders that we're using now for our, our paperwork and everything. If you have any of that stuff just laying around and you don't use it, bring it out. We'll put it to use.
Drop off a bag of food. Drop off a bag of litter. You don't even have to, you can walk to the door, throw it in and say thanks, You don't have to go in if you don't want to. They're not euthanizing those dogs. They're keeping those dogs and they're housing those dogs, which in turn is a higher expense to the shelter. And they're not getting the money from the county, to sustain what we're doing over there. So they have to look to the community for help.
Every little bit helps. It's the volunteer work, it's the fosters, it's the cross posting, it's the, the blankets, the cleaning supplies, even the small things, stuffed animals, play toys, everything down to office supplies, the paper clips that we hang their cage card signs on.
You can do lots of things without money, to help the shelter. Do a vet run. The shelter, since they are not euthanizing, they vet everything that comes in the door. Do an adoption event at the shelter. Come out, grab a dog, walk them up, meet people.
I go out and clean cat cages. You go out, you give them a fresh bed, fresh water, fresh food, move them from crate to crate. It helps. It helps the employees. It gives the cats some attention too. They don't ever get it. They need attention also.
From killing 80% of the animals that walk through the door to killing nothing in the last 2.5 years is an astonishing thing. And that comes from the donations from the community and their supporters. They cannot do it without them.
Give the dogs at the shelter a chance. Please come out, spend some time with them like I did, and fall in love.